What is a seemingly mundane question you can ask somebody that will tell you a lot about their personality? What's the last thing you did for the first time? Well, now I'm having an existential crisis because I can't think of anything. Don't feel bad, it's really not the right year for that question. First Christmas since I was born that I didn't spend with my parents. First Thanksgiving without my family, and it sucked. What made it worst was that I called and texted them and not a single one of them responded. Like 5 hours later my sister finally responded, but that was it. The next day my grandmother called me, but no one else even bothered texting. Sweetheart, that really sucks. Take it from old grandma, but reassure yourself, it's them not you. Sounds like you need to go out, once we're free from the plague, and build your own family of choice. Be kind. Be adventurous. Go to healthy places like parks and museums, or wherever nice people who may share some interesting interests hang out and find partner potential. You're someone's out there, just as adrift as you. Looking back over my long life, this is something I regret not doing more of. I just want you to know that you in this reply are amazing. One of my standard job interview questions is, tell me about something you like doing that you're good at. I don't really care what the answer is. I just want to see passion, effort, and creativity. Tell me what you're good at. Dungeons and Dragons, okay. Can you tell me a little bit more about that? Roles no. I'm glad you asked. Pulls out campaign notes, PHP, blank character sheet, 3 friends, pencils, dice, mat, dry erase markers, Cheetos and Mountain Dew. Like 3 people would make it on time. My father-in-law went on a job interview about 10 years ago and absolutely nailed the interview. As he was being shown around the office, a high-level person in that company who normally wasn't there just happened to be there that day. After they were introduced, he asked my Phil what kind of animal he would be. My Phil said he panicked and picked bear. He's a bigger guy. And the other guy said something along the lines of, that's a little too aggressive, maybe this isn't the job for you. So he didn't get the job, but I guess it worked out because he's got a pretty good job now, and if I was him I wouldn't want to work for someone who hires people based on what animal they think they would be. Do you put the cart back when you're done shopping? I put my cart away. But seriously, whether someone puts their carts back really shows you what they think about rules, social norms, and whether they will follow them when someone isn't looking or judging them. It's really interesting, and it's called the shopping cart theory. Is this a real theory? Yes, it's probably as close and the safest way to observe a lawless world where people are entrusted to make good decisions on their own. There is no penalty in not putting the cart back, and there is no upside to returning it. It shows a lot about a person's morals on if they are willing to do the right thing for nothing in return. Well, now I feel awesome because I always put it back. Similarly, you won't get anyone admitting they don't put their cart back. Because there is no real upside to telling the truth here. Facial recognition software is already there. Those that don't put it back will be flagged as non-returners, forced to live their lives cart-free as they try and lug all their groceries around in nothing more than their feeble hands. What would you do if you won the lottery? For me, it's a non-invasive way of listening to people's attitudes on finance in general, and also how they feel about the rich. Yes, this is a brilliant question. When I was newly dating my ex-boyfriend, it was around the time Super Lotto hit $1 billion a couple years ago. We were both in lottery ticket pools and discussed what we'd do if we won. His answer mortified me. It included how, if he were married, he'd divorce his wife and travel the world on a yacht doing drugs surrounded by hot women. Big red flag for me. Wow. Of all the things, that is definitely something you don't say to your girlfriend. The real lotto win was finding this out early in the relationship. It's not a single question, but by the second or third date with a guy I would ask him to go bowling. As it turns out, there's many ways to play the game. Do they take it too seriously and get competitive or angry if they don't do well? Does he act disinterested or bored of the game? Do they try to teach me how to play, or do they just try to be goofy, have fun with it? Do they order 2 pitchers of beer and get totally smashed? In my opinion, you can learn a lot about a person by the way they approach bowling. What book would you like to live in? A really, really big one. Practical, I see. I've shared this before, but I feel it's pretty relevant and a great way to find out more about a person. Years ago I went out on a first date with this girl I met online. I thought she was very attractive and we had so much common that I thought she was perfect. In addition to that, we seemed to hit off well through texts, so I figured this date would go well. We're at this bar and she suggests we play a people watching game where we try to make up backstories for the other people there. I thought it sounded fun, especially since I played a similar game with friends on the train sometimes. Plus it felt like a good icebreaker to get us talking. Well, she managed to take all the fun out the game by being ridiculously cruel in all her assumptions for no real reason at all. It felt like she was projecting issues she had onto these people. Like one guy was sitting at the bar alone, could have been waiting for someone, you never know, but because he was alone he was a ducking loser with no friends that hates his life. I tried to steer the game back to a more lighthearted mood, but she was set on being mean. Completely killed the mood, and after that I lost all interest in her. I just couldn't see myself going on a second date with someone like that, even if she checked all other boxes. However, I did learn that it's a dumb and usually fun game you can use that will really tell you a lot about a person and how well you get along with them. Did I just see you digging through the trash? I didn't know we were playing Stardew Valley. Duck you, Alex, I hate you anyways. It's usually Lewis that catches me. I somehow never notice that he's standing right in front of his house. Lamau. Got this one in an interview once. How do you go about eating a muffin? Learned a lot about muffin anatomy that day. It was a bakery after all. Edit, the bottom is also called a stem BTW, just in case anyone needs some muffin trivia in their back pocket. Edit 2, also known as stumps, yes. This was a highfalutin place so they preferred to refer to them as stems. Oh, I knew a guy at uni that sat at his desk, naked, and just slammed his face down into him like a dog eating out of a bowl. Guy was weird AF. I knew a guy. Sure you did, naked muffin eating man. Are you in favor of homeowner associations? This is a good one because everyone, who is familiar with them, has such strong reactions. Yeah, I knew a guy that was a coworker in a different department. Apparently he was on the HOA board in his neighborhood and loved it. He was a total asshole at work, so I knew that he terrorized his neighbors. Just moved to a community within HOA, and holy ducking shit, I want to carpet bomb the chairman's house. Classic douchebag rich HOA chairman straight out of a 90s sitcom. We had to tear out concrete for a little basketball area on the south side of our house because, and I'm not kidding on this, he just didn't want to have concrete outside of his bedroom window view. He wrote the covenant rules so that he can veto and order any landscaping project on behest of the HOA chairman. How is this not illegal? Just BC someone can rewrite bylaws doesn't make it less than a blatant abuse of power. As long as the rule is framed as meant to keep the community looking nice, they can basically do whatever the duck they want. Yup. Visited a friend who lived in one. Was living out of my van at the time and it wasn't the prettiest thing. One night parked in his driveway, someone had my van towed. Ducking all my worldly possessions. Turns the fuck out there was some fucking clause that no personal vehicle could be older than X year in the neighborhood under penalty of immediate removal. I wanted to fucking rip their throats out so bad. Patrick Swayze style. Motherfuckers. Fave question I heard in an interview: what would you do if you came home and found a penguin in your freezer? It ends up not only being an icebreaker, but a good personality tell. Is the penguin dead or alive? African penguin or European penguin? How do you know so much about penguins? When you're job hunting, you have to know these sort of things. Do you, by any chance, know about swallows and their behavior while carrying a coconut? He could grip it by the husk. It's not a question of where he grips it. It's a simple question of weight ratios. A 5-ounce bird could not carry a 1-pound coconut.